It is the Matt Mosley Show, and great to have you alongside today. We're going to go out to San Francisco. Z, I'll try to get us out there next year. I didn't even know I needed to be pushing for this, and then suddenly Cam and Pete and the whole gang appear out there. I knew Smoke. I mean, he goes every year, no matter who he's working for. But Z, we need to be in the middle of this thing if they're going to do that. Now, I've been to a lot of them. Radio Row, you need to experience it at least once. Z, man. Hey, Z, have you? People are like, "Who's Z?"
Yeah.
Well, he's Zach Burke. He's my good friend. He does a ton of stuff with us on Doomsday, and so I just assume everybody knows him, and I'm sure a lot of people do. But Z, great to have you. Kevin Hall, Hoosier Hall, is doing some of his Baylor duties today. He's a PA guy for the tennis program over there.
Oh.
They had a round robin tournament, and so that's where he is.
I was almost the softball PA guy back in the day.
We have full of rogue people who always tell me I almost got this.
That's what
I
we do.
almost was the basketball PA guy. I didn't get it though.
No, I didn't. It was somebody else I worked with, but she was also, the female voice went out there too. But I was the choice before that. So
did you get it, or are you saying you almost did?
Like I had it, and then
PA,
somebody, I was going to be, and then they were like, well, what if we tried somebody else out too? And then it was taken and given. Yeah.
No, after you'd already been.
It is what it is. She did a fantastic job. So
good. But still, because I think Q, who's now at ESPN, who used to be at ESPN Central Texas, I think he was out there doing something. Wasn't he the PA guy? Maybe Baylor softball at some point. Yeah,
he might have been. Yeah, that was later. That was when because I got lucky enough to co-host the show with Q, and that was when we were doing that. Yeah, he would leave to go do Baylor events. But I have had to the original question. I have been lucky enough to at least go to Radio Row once. It was when
Good.
that Steelers Packers Super Bowl where it snowed over there in
Dallas.
And we essentially stayed in the hotel the whole time. That was fun, but it was a blast.
Did you stay at the Super Bowl hotel, the Sheraton Hotel downtown?
It was the Hilton Anatole. Was the one that was connected to the media center where they had Radio Row.
Okay. And so, Radio Row was over there.
Yeah.
Wait a second. I swear I was down there. I thought I had to go down to Sheraton to do Radio Row.
I could be. I thought we were at the Hilton Anatole, and it was connected to. Is it connected to the convention center where they had it there? I just remember we didn't have to get outside, and we could just walk from where our hotel was connected down to we had to take all the floor down and walk through and over. I could be misremembering some of it, but I thought it was the Hilton Anatole.
Yeah, you're like you're using that word that Roger Clemens used that one time that nobody had ever heard before. I think I misremembered that or something like that. When he was trying to throw his poor wife under the bus. My wife gave me that. My wife was taking that. Like, okay. All right, Roger, that sounds good. Blame it on Mrs. Clemens. But Z-Man's going to be with me today. And Z-Ster, I've been to a lot of Super Bowls. Unfortunately, I was in college when the Cowboys were going to Super Bowls, so I've never gotten to cover the Cowboys in one. Gotten close a couple times. They had a chance to make it the NFC title game if they had taken down the Giants in the divisional game in 2007. That was a good opportunity for the Cowboys. That was a few years before the Super Bowl you're talking about. Mm-hmm. And then a few years later, the infamous game there in Lambeau where it looked like Dez caught the ball. They ruled it a non-catch. Now, we'll never know. Rodgers could have let him down the field. He had time, even if the Cowboys scored there. But the Cowboys would have had a great opportunity of winning that game and advancing to the NFC title game. And either one of those would have ended a long drought, which is now at 30 years, which is why I had to laugh when the other day, Z, I don't know if you heard, Orlovsky was saying something about the Cowboys Super Bowl window is back open. It's open. I'm just like, when has it ever really been opened? There have been brief moments where they had a shot, but even those 3 straight years where they won 12 games every year under McCarthy, I mean, it was like it was some kind of window. It was like a great regular season window, but they've performed so poorly in the playoffs. It's hard to call it like a true window. And so Zach has the Z-Man has witnessed all this. Although it's hard for me to keep straight Zach's allegiances because he is a Texas Rangers fan, as you can tell. Some other things that leak in there when it comes to the NFL and otherwise. And then we just have people like Mike Hamilton who just choose weird teams for no reason. Like Z, I think you actually have a reason behind the teams you root for.
Yeah.
And I don't think you're a Mavs fan, are you?
No, I'm a Rockets fan.
Yeah, you're a Rockets fan. And we have somebody that's like a Spurs fan.
Mike's a Spurs fan.
Well, Mike is a Texas guy, but he's a Spurs fan, but he's like some kind of Tennessee Titans fan. That doesn't make any sense.
Here's where it branched, because we do start in the same place. When I was growing up, I was an Oilers fan. Just to be a little bit contrarian, because everybody in the area was a Cowboys fan, and I enjoyed watching Warren Moon play. So I was an Oilers fan. When they left,
were very young. I was very young. Yeah,
5, 6.
Okay.
Like, I remember into, obviously, as a kid, like Eddie George and Steve McNair, and I loved those before they moved to Tennessee. But when they went and left to go to Tennessee, I followed for a bit, and then when Houston got another team, I was like, oh, I'll just go back to Houston. And then Mike stayed in Tennessee, and that's how that went.
All right. I see how that is going. Man, I have been reading all this in trying to get prepared. The guy that I used to feature when I was at ESPN.com, he was at Football Outsiders, and I would feature a young man named Bill Barnwell, and now he's like the huge guy at ESPN. Although I got to say, Bill's always been very nice, and he's always reaching out to me and like, you helped me get started at ESPN. I want to be like, Bill, you need to bring me back there. He puts together his Super Bowl opus. This is about 10,000 to 20,000 words of just everything you can possibly imagine that Bill puts together. And like, for instance, the Seahawks nickel and dime packages, the Seahawks 4-man pass rush. Okay, we'll do a choose your own adventure here, Z.
Okay.
I'm going to say these, and I want you to tell me which one, because here's what I can tell you.
Mm-hmm.
I have done a lot of research on both quarterbacks in this. I do know that Darnold is 0-4 against the Patriots. Now, not these Patriots. And I'm sure a couple of those losses came when he was with the sad sack, Jets at the beginning of his career. This is a man that shows you that just because you maybe flatline early and it doesn't work out as a rookie, there's still a chance. There's still a chance your career can turn around. That doesn't happen a ton, but it has certainly happened with Sam Darnold. I guess to a certain extent it happened with Cousins, but Cousins was pretty good with the Commanders, and then he ends up going elsewhere to the Vikings, and he's had a really nice NFL career. But Darnold's a guy who is like labeled as a bust and has reemerged as one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL, and truly has a great chance to be the Super Bowl MVP. I mean, in fact, if I sat here and had to say, okay, what are the odds? I mean, the only other player from Seattle that might be in the conversation for Super Bowl MVP would be Jackson Smith-Njigba in my mind. Now we may have DeMarcus Lawrence or somebody get like a strip sack and a touchdown and he's done that, by the way. He scored this year and all that kind of stuff. But these two quarterbacks both have a great shot. If I was ranking, and I'm not looking at what Vegas is doing, but if I was ranking the Super Bowl MVP odds, I would go like Darnold 1, Drake May 2, Jackson Smith-Njigba 3, And then I might be tempted to almost go with a defensive player. Who would we go with? Who else from the would you go with like Ramondre Stevenson fourth? Would you go with Milton Williams, the great defensive tackle? Perhaps Christian Gonzalez, the great cornerback, which they have had MVPs. I think back Larry Brown, one of the old Cowboys player, got 3 interceptions in one of those Super Bowls and ended up getting an MVP. After the 2 quarterbacks and Smith and Jigba, where would you go with the MVP?
I like leaning defense, but for some reason I feel it just always seems to me more, unless somebody has a big game like that's an offensive route. I would see maybe one of the running back, maybe somebody like isn't Kenny Walker there still for
Kenny Walker the third? Kenneth Walker the third for the Seahawks is a really good player, and he's a home run hitter. And I don't know if their other running back, I haven't even seen the latest on him. Has he been ruled out?
Yeah, I think Charbonnet is still out. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'd lead running back. I love it when a defensive guy, I think Dexter, what was the Buccaneers? Dexter Jackson, wasn't he one of the he got one against the Cardinals? Yeah. And that one,
against Oakland.
The Larry Brown is a great example too. And so obviously they can step up big, but I just think that at least for Seattle, it's going to be an offensive explosion. If it's not Darnold or Njigba, then I think it might be Walker.
It used to be the random running back from time to time. There was an old Texas Tech running back who won one for the team formerly known as the Redskins, and it was like Tim something, like back in the 80s. And it was just like kind of a fairly no-name running back, and he won the Super Bowl MVP. That would have been Joe Gibbs. Everybody hands the 80s to the Niners, but dang,
John Riggins?
No. Riggins.
No, I'm sorry. I don't know why I thought that. I know.
Yeah. No, Riggins.
I'm looking through
awesome.
Washington though.
No, this was like Timmy something. He was so he's an MVP in the Super Bowl, and he played running back for the Washington Redskins, and he played at Texas Tech, and I think it was like. Oh man, Tim Anderson, it's just not totally coming to me. You'll find it. You'll come across it. But what I'm saying is the random running back can occasionally jump up there and get one. And this game reminds us, Z, of the infamous Super Bowl. What was that? 49. What's this one? 60.
60.
Okay. So I think it was 49, and that was the one where, Malcolm stepped up there. All they had to do is Marshawn Lynch hand the ball off. I was at that Super Bowl because that was the one Marshawn Lynch did I'm just here so I don't get fined and wouldn't answer questions and made everybody mad. And some people were mad, and some people thought it was funny, and he was eating the Skittles and all that. And he's down there on the 1 dang yard line. And Pete Carroll decided, let's throw the ball. And the Patriots had prepared for it like crazy. And it's probably one of the most famous interceptions, if not the most famous, in NFL history, right down there at the 1 yard line. They covered it, and the Patriots win. So Seattle should have, honestly, 2 Super Bowl titles, right? They got the one with Russell. That should have been their second one. Now the Patriots, because of that win, are going for 7 on Sunday. And Kraft is going for 7. Meanwhile, Jerry says he wants to catch Robert Kraft. Oh, my gosh. What an embarrassment.
He's still got time. The Super Bowl window is open, according to Orlovsky, so he's still got time.
Yeah, and by the way, the special teams advantage, I'm telling you more of Barnwell's what he had. Oh, here's one for you. Can the Patriots win with their blitz? I focus more on the Patriots having those rookies at left tackle and left guard, and that Will Campbell scares me. Like, I really think they could get to Drake May, and they have in this postseason. Drake May's not been good in the postseason so far, except for running the football. Now, the good news is they've played in these horrible environments, and they lucked out against the Denver, and Denver didn't have its starting quarterback, Bo Nix. So, I mean, I would say of these two teams, New England is the luckier team to be here because they faced a fairly easy schedule. Now, you can't blame, it's not their fault. Their division wasn't great, but they have. That's the facts. And Seattle's faced a tougher schedule, and things have set up for New England. Now, they've had to go win it in some rough environments, including their own, including some weather there, but they've been able to do this without Drake May playing that well. And by the way, Darnold had been kind of flopping around for a few weeks himself, and then he stepped up in that NFC title game and was great. Just absolute greatness. He needed to be great. He was, and he got the better in a tremendous quarterback matchup because Stafford played really well too. I think one thing we've done is decided, well, nobody can run on Seattle. Nobody can throw on Seattle. They hold teams to whatever it is, like 17 points a game. All those things are true. But the Rams just flat out put a bunch of – the Rams scored on them, put up, like over 400 yards of offense on them. Let's not act like that Seattle's invincible here. The good news for New England and Seattle, by the way, is that you're going to hopefully be on a good field. Not going to have – I haven't looked at the forecast. Z, have you looked at the forecast? I just want to –
I haven't. I'll pull it.
The only thing that could screw it up is rain. You're not going to have snow. You're not going to have all that mess. But it should – the field should be fine. I have a hard time – when I think of the Bay Area, it's hard for me to not think of Candlestick and how horrible the field used to get and all of that. That's not going to happen. Now, because of by the way, I love that one of these teams was assigned to, wasn't it the 49ers training facility, and they declined because that training facility is near that weird place,
the
energy
reactor,
company or the reactor or something that they think could have something to do with all these 49ers injuries.
Yeah.
So they have the chance to work out at this beautiful facility at the Niners facility. Was that Seattle or was that the Patriots? I think it was Seattle.
I think it was Seattle too. I'll look up to double check.
I think Seattle said we're good.
I did check the forecast. It's a 10% chance on Sunday, but they are saying that there's a new pattern moving in. So the chance of rain could go up.
Oh, I hate that. You can function in the rain. You can't function in whatever was happening in Denver. And Sean Payton should have known that when he's down there. Goodness great. I know it wasn't as bad when he had to make that call, but he's down there. Could have taken a convincing 10-0 lead in that game. Would have felt like 20-0. And he's down there like, no, we're going to go for it. Okay, Sean. All right, buddy. With a backup quarterback, he's got a great defense. Okay, still just amazing. Regardless of whether you consider this recent version of the Patriots defense to be the real one, we need to look at how it is different from the one we saw during the regular season. This is And I think we need to remember that Milton Williams, I kind of forget this, as great as he was for the Patriots, he was on injured reserve for a chunk of later half of that season. I think it's interesting. This is my own research, not from Bill Barnwell. Z-Man, when Christian Gonzalez and Milton Williams play together, that is the great defensive back, the cornerback for the Patriots, and their great defensive tackle, Milton Williams. They're 14-0. Okay?
That's impressive.
14-0 when they do that. The Patriots have been the second most – this is since week 9 of this season. This is when you have to get down in the weeds. But we're going to help you because I get the exclusive. Barnwell sends me some kind of like extra on the side stuff. He's like, Mosley, you helped me in my career. Here you go. Patriots have been, oh, goodness. Okay. All right, buddy. Okay, here we go. Patriots have been the second most blitz-happy defense in the NFL since week 9. Outside of one game against Cincinnati, when they blitzed just 10.5% of the time, the Patriots have blitzed on at least 30% of the opposing team's dropbacks in every game over that span. Overall, the Pats have blitzed 35.1% of the time over that stretch, a figure topped only by the Vikings, who sent extra rushers on a whopping 51% of dropbacks. Wow. I mean, I do not think the blitz per se is something like that Darnold's like, oh no, I can't handle the blitz. But any of these quarterbacks, when pressured, if you get consistent pressure on them, it's going to be a bit of a struggle. And Darnold, he's had a great run in the post. I mean, especially that last game. He's had a really good season. Of these two quarterbacks, even though he's the most experienced, he's the guy that is most likely to throw an interception. I really think Darnold has some issues with turning the ball over. Now, the thing I don't like about May is, especially in the postseason, May's ball security has not been good. They were very fortunate that they were playing the Texans. I'm sorry, that they were very fortunate that they're playing the Texans in that quarterback Stroud was turning the ball over like crazy, interceptions, all that kind of stuff. Because May was doing it too. Mm-hmm. May was fumbling and not taking care of the football, even down in the red zone. So I think both these quarterbacks are capable of that. I find this interesting, though, that the Patriots, listen to this, though. When they don't blitz, opposing quarterbacks average 6.1 yards per attempt against the Patriots when they don't blitz. But that figure drops to an NFL low 4.3 yards per attempt when they do send extra pressure. They have posted a 67.5% success rate when they've blitzed on defense since week 9, the best mark of any defense. Whoa, man. I mean, now, edge rusher Harold Landry III, another offseason addition, he's been dealing with that knee injury for most of the season. I don't know if he's going to play. I haven't heard recently to see. Look at what they're saying about Harold Landry III. I think it's up in the air. He left the win over the Texans after just 11 snaps and didn't play in the AFC Championship game. But now Chason has had a career campaign and has continued to make plays, but Landry is the Pats' best pure edge rusher. If he's not available or can play only a limited snaps, the Patriots might need to blitz more to create the steady pass rush. All right. And I will say this is kind of interesting. The Seahawks were 9th in the NFL in success rates against the blitz. So I like things like this. I mean, I hope I'm not boring you to tears out there. But I think, and Z, I see that you're eager and you're into this. These are things, Z, that kind of go behind the scenes, and will, as people are sitting there watching the Super Bowl, they can just kind of lean over and go, you can't believe since week 9. And you don't even have to attribute it to Mosley. You don't have to say, I heard this on old Mosley's show. Just kind of use that at your Super Bowl party. People go, dang, man.
I did look it up. So at least injury-wise, Robert Spillane was limited in practice for the Patriots yesterday, but Harold Landry did not participate.
Did not.
So he still got, I guess, today, but yesterday he was not a participant. Nope.
I like Spillane as a player for a lot of reasons, but I like his name. There's an old were those novels? Or was that a TV show? Those Mickey Spillane? Was that a who was that? I feel like it was a TV show for sure.
He was a novelist, though.
But Mickey Spillane was a novelist. But I think some of his stuff was made into some either movies or TV shows.
Yes,
Mickey
I believe you're
Spillane.
right.
Okay, all right.
Like that,
But
yeah.
I like Robert Spillane, and not just for the name. I mean, this guy, he was another free agent pickup. I mean, if you do think the Cowboys have some kind of window, you got to look at all the great thing about the Dallas teams, the Mavs and the Cowboys. What do they have? And even the Rangers to a certain extent. What do they have, Zach? They've got financial flexibility, baby.
Yeah.
Financial flexibility. So now the Cowboys can go out and try to help their young defensive coordinator, Christian Parker. And I meant to bring some of this up in this, this. I mean, it's Super Bowl weekend, so we're both excited. We got a lot to share with you, and we're going to go to San Francisco and talk to a Bay Area reporter who's really going to have some great Seahawks knowledge for us. That's Matt Lively. I'm wearing this, Z. I'm wearing my shacket today for Matt because I'm kind of his leader when it comes to outerwear and dressing. I put him on to cricket and a lot of brands that I wear. And as a young man, I think when you look at me, Z, you might question a young man for trying to emulate my style, but Lively he's done well out there in the Bay Area because of that. We'll get to him at 2:00, but I thought some of Jerry's comments yesterday. He sat down at the bar with some reporters, and he opened up about some things, and he just flat out said, "Hey, I've gotten this thing wrong. I've been thinking way too much about getting these defensive coordinators and defensive coaches with all this experience that have been head coaches, and it was time to do something different." And he admitted that, and what they've done is not only have they hired Christian Parker, but they've let him basically go out and get dudes from not USC. Where's that outside linebackers coach from? Anyway, just basically go out and hire interesting young coaches across the NFL and dipping into the college ranks to bring these coaches in. Georgia. Go get you a good young SEC coach. Bring them in. See what you can do. So, again, this other thing has not worked other than Dan Quinn. Let's not try to act like Dan Quinn was a bad defensive coordinator because at least they got a bunch of takeaways. Now, they couldn't stop anybody in the run, but they had some identity, which was a big takeaway team. This year, they had no identity. Horrible in coverage, maybe decent against the run because teams were throwing for 500 yards. Who needs to run when you can throw 500 yards? Even like Jacoby Brissett and Russell Wilson, late stage Russ Wilson, everybody who came in here, even J.J. McCarthy. What do you hear now in Minnesota? Well, that guy's gone because they missed on J.J. McCarthy. J.J. McCarthy's not a good quarterback. Well, you could have fooled me. He was awesome against the Cowboys. My gosh, like 280 yards and 3 or 4 touchdowns. Boom, 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 boom. Just throwing it right down the field. He was great. All right, Z, let's do some Campus Confidential. And then we'll so we got some college to talk about. We got some interesting things happening with college football and then some interesting, the commissioner of the SEC is kind of going after one of his own. This is very, very interesting. And then at 2:00, Matt Lively from San Fran, from the Super Bowl, will join us. And then at the end of the show, Z-Man and I will give our picks for this Super Bowl. And you'll want to write all this down because obviously after that first segment, you realize that there's nobody in the business that has studied more for this Super Bowl than the Mosley Show. All right, Z-Man, at some point, I'd like to hear some of your thoughts on the Super Bowl.
For sure.
Next, though, go ahead.
I was going to say, I can get into them when we do picks. I can add a little more to it there, but I was going to, since we had this, start with the SEC story you were talking about there. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No. I'm sorry. I fooled you there. I was getting ready to throw us to a break. We need to do a break. We need to do a break, and then we'll do some Campus Confidential. We'll do that next.
At Allen Samuels Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat, we're proud to be your premier destination in Waco for exceptional automotive service. Whether you're searching for a new vehicle, a quality pre-owned car, or dependable service and parts, our team is here to take care of you every step of the way. Visit Allen Samuels Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat in Waco, where great deals, friendly service, and your next ride are waiting. Come by, let's be friends.
When you strive for greatness, you have a target on your back. And when it comes to finances, we're all targets for scammers. With the right game plan, you can protect yourself. Don't get faked by fraud.
Here's a tip. No reputable company or government agency will ever ask you to pay them with gift cards, Bitcoin, or a person-to-person payment app. Scammers use these options because the money can't be traced. Just don't do it.
This message is brought to you by Central National Bank.
Ready for a better kind of primary care?
At Patient First Direct Primary Care, you get unlimited office visits with same-day or next-day availability.
And instead of rushed appointments, we take the time to actually listen.
There are no insurance hassles, just clear, simple care.
You can reach us by phone or text because access shouldn't be complicated. Our practice has expanded to include Medicare-age patients as part of our direct primary care model.
It's a fresh alternative to the traditional insurance or government-driven systems, care that finally puts you first.
For more information, go to patientfirstdirect.com.
Everybody at Ecolife really has a passion and a real interest in helping people feel well. How much further can we go to get you feeling even better? It is a complete partnership between the two of us.
What if you could clean clean? With bio-based formulas and deep cleaning enzymes. No dyes, phthalates, or mystery ingredients. Just powerful pods for your dishes and laundry. Now you can, with drops. Made clean, made to clean.
It's not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro.
It doesn't matter if your investment budget is small or big. All you need is Benzinga Pro and its powerful news alerts, price tracking, and portfolio monitoring. Subscribe now, and we'll skyrocket your portfolio today.
I am obsessed with helping business owners increase their traffic and turn it into profit through the power of Pinterest marketing. It's this amazing platform where people are looking for ideas, inspiration. They have a problem and they're actively looking for a solution.
It's hard to find supplements that work. No, thank you. Plant-based supplements made from the Earth's most powerful plants for your immune health, gut health, workouts, and more. Find out more at auraorganic.com.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
Oh, it is the Mosley Show, and Zach in for Kevin Hoosier Hall today. And Z and I always love working together. They somehow have managed to keep us apart on a daily basis. I don't know if they don't trust us or what, but good to have him. And he also does even behind the scenes work on the Mosley Show and a lot of our really cool shorts. In fact, Kevin, early this morning, I was reviewing one that about the Baylor basketball. And I've like kind of gone back and forth because I really like it. But I also don't want to like bludgeon the program like too much, and they've won 2 straight. And so I'm kind of like, I've been back and forth like how much I want to promote it. But I think it was, I like how you did it. And it's I stand by it. I stand by the fact that Baylor men's basketball is going to have a huge reset on how it does evaluations. And it's not simply, most people think the simple answer is not enough money. Didn't spend enough money on NIL. I don't think that's true. I mean, more money's always better, but again, it's how it's allocated, and it's the big decisions you make. And when you whiff on a big money player, it really can set you back. It means you have to really hit on everything else. And if you don't, you're still in trouble. Now, but again, Baylor's had a lot of bad luck, injuries, the Rob Wright thing, all of it's bad. None of that's fun. But I'm hoping that the message is not just we'll have better luck next year. The message has to be we're not doing this correctly. And that's okay. Even for a great program, it's okay to have that kind of self-analysis and do something new. And I think Scott's very willing to do that. And I got to say, even during what's been an awful season compared to Baylor standards, I appreciate Scott's willingness to come on to discuss it. And he remains as accessible to me, at least, as he's ever been during this very, very trying season. Now, I'm not like I am with some coaches, I'm not beating him up, so maybe that makes it easier for him to be accessible to me. But anyway, it's been an interesting year. Okay, let's do some and don't feel rushed, Z, because we'll take a break here in 10 minutes. And if we end up, you don't get to a couple things, we can certainly come back to it in the 2:00 hour. A reminder, we have Matt Lively from CBS Bay Area Sports coming on, and he is covering the Super Bowl, and he's kind of he's our man in the field, so to speak. All right. Our well-dressed man in the field, good TV guy, has a face for TV. All right. Some people have a face for radio. Some people have a face for YouTube. Zach, I don't know what that even means. All right.
Step up from radio, right? If it's still video, so maybe not as good for TV, but I don't know. I don't know where it squeezes.
I miss the days though of just kind of, and people say, well, what would you look like if you weren't on air? Well, I don't know. I mean, let's not act like I've really dressed up today. But anyway, okay, let's do some Campus Confidential. What do you have for us?
So
put that graphic up. I love that
of
you did
course.
that.
Give me 1 second.
I love that. I love that C&B down there. Oh, that's automatically
it switches.
It switches it. But anyway, Ascension Providence, we love you too.
So I will go ahead and start with the why can I'm blanking on his first name? Not George. Greg Sankey. What is the SEC commissioner's first name now? All of a sudden, of course,
Sankey. Yeah, Greg Sankey.
Yeah. So Greg, he filed an affidavit basically emphatically arguing that not upholding the NCAA's eligibility rules fuels disruption on the whole college sports as an entire landscape. And what he's talking about is Alabama, and they have a player, Charles
Bediako. Yeah.
And this is a very similar situation in a way of another story that we're about to get into with the Amari Bailey, because there's an update there. But Bediako essentially signed, for those who don't know, like an NBA deal, and it made it to the G League, but never played in an actual NBA game. And so while they were waiting to hear to rule on his eligibility, he's been able to play a couple games for the Crimson Tide there, including where no matter who he plays, it seems that the fans there, or at least the student section, loves to chant G League dropout when he goes there. But Greg Sankey is at least coming up and saying that you need to uphold the NCAA. I think is now trying to rule that, or the first one that they're appealing was that he is not eligible to play. But while they're waiting for the appeal, he's been able to play some here. And what I get from this is Sankey essentially saying that Alabama just kind of needs to go along with the NCAA's decision on this, of where us not doing that and fighting this is just fueling more disruption of where it sets along these, I guess the rules there of once they go and leave and come, you're creating more problems is what I got from this and what he's sitting there, the filings, because this isn't the only one. There's also the Tennessee quarterback, Joey Aguilar, with the guy from Ole Miss, the Trinidad Chambliss, I think, who was just ruled ineligible, I think, a couple days ago.
Yeah.
AA. So I think that there's more and more cases like this. And for me, it seemed like what I got from the article was that Sankey is at least saying, like, we need to stick, like, what the NCAA rules here is we need to sit there and follow. That's how I took his the point he was trying to make. I guess against Alabama.
The schools have now gone to court like they did with Bediako, like they're trying to do in other instances now that Chambliss has been ruled ineligible from the NCAA. When they get the NCAA ruling they don't like, they'll try to go to a court. And then kind of like in an Alabama case, and now finally that judge recused himself. And so they're bringing in another judge to hear the case. Of course, meanwhile, Bediako gets to keep playing. And unlike James Najee at Baylor, Bediako's a pretty good player. I mean, Najee may someday be pretty good. He is not really capable of doing much to help Baylor now other than like really 2 to 6 minutes. What they were hoping for was somebody that could literally be a 20 to 30 minute type player. He's not that. Bediako is a starting caliber SEC player. So this thing, and what's fascinating to me about this is Sankey is always going to try to further the SEC and try to take up for his member schools. He'll fine people or condemn people when there's poor behavior and that kind of thing. But in this case, he is putting all of college football and all of college athletics before one of his member schools. And then I saw today Phillips from the ACC, which nobody cares about him, quite frankly. He's just like, hey, I'm just happy to be here. But he has come in and go, I agree, and I'm gonna write a little treatise too in support of Sankey. And what Sankey's saying is, I don't really care. I can do this with or without you guys, but because I am the czar. I am the closest thing we have to a college football commissioner. I am the SEC, the mighty SEC. So I think there has to, I mean, it's gotten completely, and this leads in, I mean, everybody says, well, I think at some point there'll be guardrails, right? And you're just like, I just laugh at that. I'm like, why haven't we been saying that now ever since the rev share came out? Oh, the rev share is going to provide, this new group that approves the things, the college, whatever they are, the CSC, the commission, that's going to improve things. None of it does. They're always going to find loopholes and ways around this to bring in tons and tons of NIL money. I mean, honestly, this will go on until one of the billionaires runs out of money. And billionaires almost never run out of money. Now, the guy at Tech, he's tired of it. He would love to see guardrails. Even billionaires get sick of just constantly having to be a money cannon. But as long as he can do this, he's going to step in and help his alma mater stay near the top. And right now, whether we choose to believe this or not, Texas Tech is like in a different conference. It's like in the Big 12, it's Tech and then everybody else. It's a bummer, but it's just the way it is. And like BYU and Arizona State seem to kind of be on the fringes of this. But Baylor and everybody else, like none of them are playing the same game Tech is playing. Now, okay, we'll take another break at about 56 as we get ready for our guest. But what do you had mentioned another story that is developing, and I find this one fascinating because this guy that's trying to come back to college basketball actually did play in NBA games.
He absolutely did. We're talking about Amari Bailey, who was at UCLA. He was drafted by the Hornets in 2023 and actually played in the NBA on a two-way contract, but now he's trying to come back and regain his eligibility to play more college basketball. He took a visit, or he has one planned, I guess is the best way to do it. His first official visit to Grand Canyon University as he's trying to return next season to play the 26-27 season. So apparently, from what I saw, is that the school, Grand Canyon University, is aggressively pitching him on its vision and plans to host him next Wednesday for its game against New Mexico. This is not him taking visits, is not going to have anything to do with the ruling. Like, he's still planning on taking as many visits as he can until obviously the NCAA makes their ruling, and they're going to keep fighting that, because I think the thing is he signed an NBA contract and played in 10 games total before he left there. And that's the big hang up. The other thing that makes the story interesting that I didn't know, that you filled me into, Matt, before we started today, is the coach at Grand Canyon University.
And that is Scott Drew's brother, Bryce. And I mean, Scott infuriated Tom Izzo and everybody with this James Najee situation. Baylor looked at it, got it approved, and this was not going to court. This was somehow, the NCAA, this was within the reasoning. Now, what they're doing, what this guy's trying to do, the NCAA, not in a million years, is going to want to approve, but he will go to court and try to get approval that way. And Grand Canyon has been very aggressive in trying to bring him in. I mean, it's a fascinating thing. I think some people would go, well, the Drew family, they're up to their old tricks again. I think their own fans are like, well, good for them. They're looking for every possible angle to try to make their teams better. And I think Grand Canyon's had a pretty good year this year. It's a fun place to watch games. Apparently, the home crowd is unbelievable. And
well, they were a tournament team last year, weren't they?
They may have been. And
actually, I'm sorry. They've made it since 2021, 23, 24, and 25. So they're on a roll.
To the tournament?
Yes.
And I would assume they just win their conference tournament to do that. What's their record this year? Does it say?
Right now, not here, but I can find that real quick.
How is GCU doing? So they're trying to bring this guy in, and
they are kind of 15-7.
Oh, they need this NBA player. Well, what they need to do is win the conference tournament. Now, they may have played a tough non-conference schedule to account for some of those losses, but they're usually better than that.
They're still only one loss out of first place in the conference, though. They're 8-3 in conference play.
I always feel like these mid-majors that used to be really good aren't going to be as good anymore because they get their rosters picked clean. And, like if you're good at Belmont, Bucky got hired at A&M, he's going to take them with him. The guy Drake got hired at Iowa.
Does St. Mary's count as one of those?
A mid-major?
I'm just thinking of a team that was always fighting with like Gonzaga to be like make the tournament year after year out of the West Coast there. And it seems like that's a team that I haven't heard much from. I know that they're not necessarily mid-major, but I think that's another smaller program that would find a way to get in conference tournaments and stuff that is found obviously a lot harder now with NIL and everything.
Somebody beat Gonzaga the other night, Portland of all things. I thought I knew them as like Portland State, or I guess they just go by Portland now. For some reason, I had it in my mind that they used to be known as Portland State. Anyway, Portland, and San Francisco has come close, and on an annual, they'll give Gonzaga a game occasionally. St. Mary's, who you brought up, that's probably the only true threat over the years to Gonzaga. But now here's the problem with that. Is Portland? See, I thought Gonzaga had moved into this other conference. Has that not happened yet? I thought Gonzaga was now in the Pac-12 with Boise State and whoever else left the Mountain West to go to the Pac-12, and Washington State and Oregon State and all those schools. Has that not happened yet?
That happens July 1st of this year. They move over. Okay. They're still in the West Coast Conference for this season.
I got you. I like that the West Coast Conference is saying, as they're heading out, hey, we're still here. We're still doing this. So we're going to put one on you. Mm-hmm. It's a very interesting thing. All right. We are going to have Matt Lively. Good stuff, Z. And if you got anything left, we'll do that a little later in the 2:00 hour. The man of the hour, Matt Lively from CBS Bay Area Sports, joins us next.
When you strive for greatness, you have a target on your back. When it comes to finances, we're all targets for scammers. But with the right game plan, you can protect yourself. Don't get faked by fraud.
Here's a tip. If you receive a call from someone claiming to be from a company, don't give them your personal information, ever. Unless you know them personally, hang up and call the company back on a verified number.
This message is brought to you by Central National Bank.
Ready for a better kind of primary care?
At Patient First Direct Primary Care, you get unlimited office visits with same-day or next-day availability.
And instead of rushed appointments, we take the time to actually listen.
There are no insurance hassles, just clear, simple care.
You can reach us by phone or text because access shouldn't be complicated. Our practice has expanded to include Medicare-age patients as part of our direct primary care model.
It's a fresh alternative to the traditional insurance or government-driven systems, care that finally puts you first.
For more information, go to patientfirstdirect.com.
At Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, we're proud to be your premier destination in Waco for exceptional automotive service. Whether you're searching for a new vehicle, a quality pre-owned car, or dependable service and parts, our team is here to take care of you every step of the way. Visit Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco, where great deals, friendly service, and your next ride are waiting. Come by, let's be friends.
It is Mosley. Oh, I was gonna just be dramatic, Z, and like bring him in, just off. Oh, here we go. I mean, it was almost a little too abrupt for our audience. Matt Lively, you've known him, you've loved him. All of Central Texas remembers him. There's just some people that have gone on to big things, like Matt, like Nicole, several others. But Matt has gone. He's basically turned into a major West Coast guy there in Northern California, as he's with CBS Bay Area Sports, and he's been all over this Super Bowl and always considered on some of the best dressed lists. In fact, I thought of him last night on NFL Honors when they were doing the best dressed. But without further ado, let's bring him in. Former Waco great, and now CBS Bay Area, Matt Lively. Welcome to the Mosley YouTube experience.
What an introduction. I love to see that you're wearing a shacket, first of all.
Just for you.
I miss you. Seeing you through here, I'm like, man, I wish you were here and we were hanging out at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things I could show you there on Radio Row, and there's some people I would introduce you to. We would have enjoyed that. Part of me wants to be there just to see people like you. A part of me does not want to be there because I've done it a lot of times, and it is a ridiculous scene, and it just starts to buzz. The buzz increases Wednesday, Thursday, and then by Friday, it's reached its full zenith. So, I just want to say how appreciative I am knowing how crazy busy a week it is when you're basically hosting a Super Bowl. So I am very appreciative that you joined us today, and it's got to be fun. Now, how far from all the stuff that's happening, the game's in Santa Clara, all the Super Bowl stuff is happening in San Francisco, in terms of the Radio Row and all of that. How far do you live from all the action of where you've been hanging out Radio Row, and as you've been making your way around and interviewing players? And give us an example. Give us kind of a picture of how everything is set up at the Super Bowl, and how close are you to this?
I'm at Casa de Lively right now. I am 20 minutes from Radio Row, which I was there this morning. I'm just jumping on city bus, apartment to Radio Row. They got the whole Super Bowl experience in downtown San Francisco. This is all happening in downtown San Francisco.
Okay.
Radio Row, the media center, the Super Bowl experience, all the fun stuff. And then you have to jump in your car. And as if you were driving from Waco to very, very north Austin.
Okay.
That is where Santa Clara lies. So it is not close.
Like Round Rock, like going to Round Rock. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to the baseball stadium in Round Rock, essentially from my apartment. But I make that drive 3 times a week when I'm covering the Niners. It's not a big deal. For a Super Bowl, when you compare it to a place like New Orleans, it's not as ideal.
Yeah, I hear you. And, but boy, I mean, to be at the epicenter and it would have been not that you're not working hard, but if the Niners had made it, that would have been a little different situation, right? Because then it's more like a beat coverage. Now you can kind of choose your favorite stories and, somebody's from here. Or, the Seahawks, obviously, y'all know them really well.
Exactly.
The Patriots are a great story because of the whole Belichick, the Kraft thing, all the stuff that comes with the Patriots. But you can kind of pick and choose, can't you, the stories you want to do a little better when it's not your team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if it was the Niners, you're right. It's a full beat. I've been covering the team all year, so it would just be kind of a normal week in terms of I'm doing my normal coverage, but we would have blown out our programming, and we would have had 49ers special shows once, if not twice a day, 30-minute specials. I mean, the whole 9 yards. Like when we did it in Vegas, that was the most hectic, chaotic, fun week of my life. But I do like that I just get to roll into Radio Row and I'm like, oh, there's Chris Sims. Like, he'll have a good story about Kyle Shanahan. Or to your credit, Austin Hooper played at Stanford, grew up in the Bay Area. He's playing in the Super Bowl on Sunday. Those things are easier to do. It would have been a different week, but a more maybe enjoyable week too if the Niners were playing in it.
What's the weirdest thing you've seen this week, or like the biggest celebrity you've run into from an acting comedian standpoint, or just a huge, former NFL star? I mean, obviously the Roger Craig story is very big with him going in. We've spent so much time talking about who's not going in. They put a nice class together. It's just that this class will sadly kind of be remembered for who didn't go into it.
Yeah. I mean, the Belichick thing is crazy, but a lot of that goes into how they changed the voting for those senior finalists, which I think is lost on it. Like, I had Niner fans reach out to me and they go, good for Roger Craig, but he stole Frank Gore's spot. I was like, well, actually, they were on completely different ballots. That's a whole nother thing. But to answer your question about celebrities that I've seen, the weirdest things I've seen here, 3 quick ones. My favorite guy I've seen, Rondé Barber. I grew up a huge Bucks fan, interviewed Rondé. That was a total treat for me. The biggest star I've seen by far, and this might throw you for a loop, Mrs. Martha Stewart. She was just perusing down Radio Row. I'm like on the phone, 3 bodyguards around her, 17 different girls behind her who are like taking notes, about how she's like unbelievable to see Martha Stewart. That is like legit star power. The craziest thing I've seen is I walked into Radio Row yesterday and there's this massive crowd. I'm like, what is happening over there? Robert Irwin, Steve Irwin's son, had a ginormous snake wrapped around Jordan Mailata's neck. And I was like, that's the Super Bowl week. That is everything the Super Bowl week is about right there.
That does sort of encapsulate everything.
Yeah.
I would, if I'd lost my father to what he lost his father to, I think I might get out of the family business. Although I guess, man, if you're known as the crocodile hunter's son, you kind of have to live up to that. Now, 100%. Did you get fairly close to get a look at that?
Not
Can I look on your Twitter feed? Did you get some shots of that up there?
Not
I was
not
on there earlier. Okay,
I saw
I
a snake and I went the other way.
You were too busy talking about the Giants coach who's going to coach the infield.
Ron Washington's
the San Francisco Giants.
Hey man, my job doesn't stop just because the Super Bowl is in town. I got it. It's all encompassing.
Wow, that's a great guy to bring in, and a great Tony Vitello who's trying to do something no one's ever done. That's smart. That's smart to have a grand old baseball man on there with him. And I've spent a lot of time around Wash. That's funny you brought up Frank Gore. Was there a legitimate, did people think he was going to make it? I guess that did not particularly surprise me. I mean, again, Witten was great. He didn't make it.
Right. I'm
very sad about Woody, and you have some Arizona State ties, so you certainly would have some love for Darren Woodson. I mean, that he was a enormous part of the Cowboys dynasty of the 90s. And then when I started covering the team in 2003, he was still there and he's become a good friend. I hate it that he can't get in, but to your point, some of the voting, the things that they have done is causing a lot of this. It's literally people saying, and some people have been open about this. They're like, well, I didn't vote for Belichick because I thought he'd get in for sure. And I thought I would try to help this other guy get in. And if he didn't miss it by one vote, according to people have put that story out there. But did a guy like Frank Gore, to me, is just someone who he's the opposite of the running back from the Broncos, Terrell Davis, who was unbelievable, but was unbelievable in a short span, kind of like Edgerrin James.
Right.
Gore had the longevity and was really good for a long time, but I don't recall him being the greatest at any point during his time in the league. Whereas Edgerrin had a year or two where he was the best. Davis the same way. What did you think of Gore's chances? And what do you think? Did San Francisco people? So there was, like you say, a segment of people probably closer to your age that were bothered by Gore not getting in.
Yeah, it's his first year on the ballot. The Frank Gore argument, which is skewed, is that he's third all time in rushing yards. But as you said, also nobody played more games at the running back position than Frank Gore. So he had more cracks at picking up yardage. I mean, there were years where I think he's a top 3, top 5 running back in the NFL. During those San Francisco days. But I think, too, when you're talking about Hall of Fame voting, a lot of that is what have you done for me lately? In the best years of Frank Gore's career, we're not in that latter half, obviously. He was used as a complimentary back. So I would say, had Frank Gore maybe retired a little bit sooner, the case is tougher because he doesn't have all the yards, but he was coming off better seasons. He played a lot more games because he stayed around. I didn't see him being a first ballot Hall of Famer, but I do think he'll get in eventually.
Do you think Tiffany Haddish, the comedian at the NFL Honors, should you know how to say Vrabel's name if you're up there presenting? Don't you feel like that's kind of the baseline? Now, I remember Travolta famously got somebody's name. It was the girl Idina Menzel, I think was her name, and he mangled it, which was very funny because I think they had it on the prompter in how to say it from those things screw me up too. I'd almost rather just kind of learn it and not look at the pronunciation, because then that kind of throws me off more. But Tiffany Haddish, she was trying, she was into it. It's not like she wasn't into it, but to throw that version of Vrabel out there was bad. And then I heard there was a Njigba moment. Somebody struggled there.
Yeah, I mean it's for entertainment purposes, right? So you get the comedians and the funny people to say the names, and sometimes it doesn't pay off. Tiffany Haddish was really, 3 times she said Mike Verbal, Mike Verbrell, Mike Variable. was like, oh God. And then he had to, then he had done the pre-taped, really awkward, yeah, thanks for voting me in kind of thing. So it is what it is.
I think you could have also used your skills as a host, because I was really impressed with this list of restaurants. And then you tried to do the without a reservation. Like,
I should have provided my services as a tour guide for this entire weekend and seeing how much I could have made.
Yeah, the thing I'm impressed about is that it's not like you've been out there forever, and yet you've kind of gotten out there and gotten the lay of the land. I'm telling you, there are some people I've worked with over the years that would have basically known where the chains are.
Oh.
And the fact that you know all these places. Now, when I was there in San Francisco for that last Super Bowl, I was kind of more interested in the famous live music places, trying to figure out like where those were. And I can't remember. I get my towns mixed up. I want to say there was a place called like the Fillmore or something.
Yeah. Great music venue.
And then the coffee houses, because I was at the time, Starbucks had really kind of had a chokehold on America. Fortunately, the independent coffee people have made a comeback in this country, which is really nice to see. But I remember going to this place, almost felt like I was like going to be called a commie or something. But it was like the whole theme was like the sickle and like the old Soviet Union. And it was kind of a cool, interesting coffee shop. But as I sat in there,
frequented this one.
Yeah, you need to look at that, see if it's still there. But it was just kind of an ode to the Gorbachev, the Soviet Union. And again, I felt like because every movie I grew up with was like us taking down the Soviets.
Yeah,
with the top part of that being 1980 Lake Placid. By the way, did you try to apply to CBS? Hey, send me over to the Winter Olympics. I need to go over there. I can see you really enjoying that.
It's such an NBC thing.
That's true. That's true.
I don't see, I'm trying to get them to pay for me now to go to Australia, where the Niners are going to play next season. So they're going to Australia and Mexico next year. So save the travel budget on those trips for me.
Do you like working for, well, you can't really say this because people might, see. I was going to say between CBS and NBC, but I'm sure there are good and bad things about each of those. All right.
I'll say this. When I worked in Waco, I worked at an NBC affiliate. So there wasn't a lot, I didn't have any contacts. I work for CBS now, like the CBS company. It's a great experience for me. It passes with flying colors. They're very kind to me. They send me all over the country and travel, always give me super nice accommodations. I'm very thankful to CBS.
Okay. And do you occasionally still check on things in Waco?
Oh, yeah.
Will you catch a Baylor basketball game? I wouldn't suggest it this season, by the way. But I
couldn't believe how bad they were when I caught a glance at Scott Drew on my TV, corner of my eye. So I'm like, I'm going to dial into some Baylor basketball. I could not believe how non-competitive they were.
Yeah, it's not good. And I've kind of, sometimes when you beat, it's like you go through this football season and you're like, we don't want a new coach, had the scandal with the deal. Sadly, that's been unbelievable for my show, Matt, is that like all Baylor people, when that was all going on, because I knew a lot of the folks involved, and I was able to kind of talk about the candidates and who was going to be the AD. I never in a million years would have thought like a search for an AD would have brought me like thousands upon thousands of viewers, but it kind of did, and so I kind of had to navigate all of that. So it's like, I don't ever root for scandal with Baylor, but like, what has helped my career, sadly, is Baylor scandals.
Well, you just have to wait about every 3 to 4 years and something new happens for you.
Yeah. And the murdered player in 2003, that's when I ended up getting the Cowboys beat because of my coverage over one of the players on the Baylor team getting murdered.
Can I still tell you the craziest thing that ever happened to me in Waco?
What's that?
I won't name names, but the day Kim Mulkey left, She announces on a Sunday. It was the worst kept secret in town, right?
Yeah.
Gonna leave Sunday. She's gonna address the team. So as any journalist does, I go out there with my camera and I walk right up to Foster Pavilion. And on the side, they had doors that led to the locker rooms. And I knocked on the door. I said, hey, does Kim want to talk? And I was brand new. She doesn't know who I am. I'm knocking on the door. Somebody came and they said, okay, we're going to check with Kim. I'm sure they closed the door. They waited 20 seconds. They opened the door back up and they said, Kim doesn't want to talk. But all right, I did my due diligence. I went knocking. So I sat in my car outside the, Foster Pavilion because I'm going to try to, or Foster, am I saying, is it Foster Pavilion?
Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
The old one?
No, the old one's Farrell. The Farrell Center.
Farrell Center. Sorry.
The new one's Foster Pavilion. The old one's Farrell. You were at Farrell. All right.
So I'm sitting outside the Farrell Center, and all of a sudden a white car is kind of like driving around me. And so I'm going to drive to different parts of campus. I'm going to get some sound from fans, try to check back in on Kim. As I'm driving around campus, this white car continues to follow me. Finally get out, go interview some fans, and I have someone screaming at me. You're not to talk to a single student athlete. You stay away from them. It was a high-ranking Baylor official and someone who I'd not ever previously had contact with before. And it was at that moment that I kind of was like, all right, this school will bury bodies. Like, I get it now. From everything I've heard about, they will bury it. And he tried to, it was just straight intimidation. And I gave it right back to him. I was like, I have every right to be here. If they want to talk, I'll talk with them. I just want to talk to your head basketball coach. That's all I really want to talk to. And he was screaming at me. And from then on, I was like, damn, this is not a place that, they're going to try to intimidate you.
Well, and I will not defend whoever that was. I could probably have some guesses for you, but I won't guess. But I will say the current Florida AD, Brad Strickland, was the head of Baylor communication when the 2003 story happened. And you know what they did at that Baylor Law School? They opened a big room at that beautiful new law school, and they knew there were satellite trucks and CNN and that's how I went from covering high schools to suddenly being on with Anderson Cooper, Paula Zahn and Bill Hammer and all that. And, but Strickland, that was some great PR because they knew it was a bad story. It was an awful story, but they also knew for whatever reason that summer, it became a huge story.
Yeah.
And so instead of nobody could talk. Now, I had trouble with Bliss and I was hanging out just like you were, going to the coach's office, trying to get in there. I think I saw Tom, the old AD at the time. I think I found him, but I couldn't find Bliss. And then I was with the Dallas Morning News, and they got very angry that that he had talked to, oh gosh, who's the guy that was with CBS and now he's with the NCAA and he's always on camera, but he had covered Bliss at New Mexico.
Okay.
And Bliss did talk to him when Dennehy was missing. And so I didn't get Bliss. And it was back in the day of, oh my gosh, we got scooped by whatever this guy's name was, and the head guy at the morning news called Bliss and just went off on him to the point where Bliss was trying to reach me. Okay. I'm ready to talk now. I'm ready to talk. But those were interesting times. But I will say that's why you just can't paint everything with a broad brush. There will be people sometimes that act completely inappropriate in those times. Now, I found Kim's top PR guy. You remember him? He was 6'7".
Yes.
I found him to be great.
He was.
And,
yes.
And to be very open and to understand that Kim was Kim, but he didn't take on her personality. He did his own thing, and unfortunately, within a few months of her being gone, he had to go find another gig or whatever. I love that dude. In fact, I think he wanted to be in charge of football at the time and would have done an incredible job. Now, Brent Ingram has come on and has done a very, very nice job.
Yeah, Brent, awesome guy.
Yeah, but to your point, yeah, there are going to be people. And by the way, I took on a lot of anger, even though I'm kind of viewed by most of those people as, old Mosley, old Baylor guy. Even when I make them mad, they're going to forgive me pretty quickly. But I took a picture with Kim during the Final Four and didn't even think about it. Because she had been my longtime friend. I had a great relationship with her. But she'd also rubbed it in Baylor's face that she was in the Final Four. And she put up those signs. And I should have probably thought more about it. And I was not doing it to try to do anything. And, Matt, you talk about high up in Baylor. Whoa. I encountered some major blowback. So it happens to even, some people, and that's why I laugh at some people like Mosley's a Baylor guy. He's the Baylor mouthpiece sometimes. I'm like, well, go talk to him. Go talk to those Baylor people and see how much of a mouthpiece they think I am. But I love Baylor, you know that. But at the same time, we have to cover them. And I wish I could. Sometimes I wish I didn't have to. All right, I did want to say this because I've kept you a while. I wanted to get your take on this game a little bit. You've had a good look at Darnold this season.
Yeah, I've seen him.
The ups and how many times?
3.
Wow. He's 0-4 against the Patriots, but again, part of that record was when he was with bad teams and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I kind of throw some of that out. He was great in the title game. He's also a guy that if you look at his turnover rate, it's not great. So he's had a really, really nice season, and I want to trust him, but I also know that, they love to blitz. These Patriots do, and this guy can make mistakes. Where are you on, your trust level of Darnold and just these two quarterbacks going into this game?
I've been waiting since about week 15 for the Darnold shoe to drop. What I mean by that is, okay, at some point he's going to unravel and come apart at the seams, and it's yet to happen. You can actually look at week 18 when they played the Niners and it was a 13-3 game. He didn't play that well, but they still won. And I think that's the credit to his defense. He's going into this game with the better defense in my mind. He has the better running back in my mind. He has a loaded wide receiver room, a better special teams with Rashid Shaheed returning kicks. I think the Seahawks have been successful not because of Sam Darnold, but because of the pieces they put around him. Ultimately, that's my pick in this game. I have Seattle winning. I think that Seattle defense is going to suffocate Drake May. He's had 2 games in the playoffs, frankly, where I've not really been impressed. And that's a big stage for this guy to be coming into to play the best defense in the National Football League in your second year in the Super Bowl. So I'm picking Seattle not because of Sam Darnold, but because of all the pieces around him.
Very interesting. The pieces around him. And see, that's why I have a hard time with what you're saying about May, because it's the weather has been awful. He doesn't have what you're saying. He doesn't have everything around him yet. By one vote, he misses the MVP.
Yeah.
And he had this same group of receivers throughout the season. He had the same group of running backs, and yet he dang near and maybe should have been the MVP. So on a field that hopefully right now we're only seeing 10% chance of rain, you're out there. You probably
It'll be fine.
You're buddies with the forecasters out there, the weather guys at CBS. But I'm having a hard time with this one for some of those things you just said, because it's on May has had the better season.
Definitely.
And he's done it. He's done it with a lesser crew around him. But boy, you brought up a good one. That Rashid, you hit on 2 or 3 things immediately that were great. One is that defense, the way they are against the run, the way that they play those games at the line of scrimmage, the great DeMarcus Lawrence, that whole group, they really could give May some issues. He has some ball security issues. The thing that could hurt him is that he does run the football. And like the Baylor defense this year just got crushed with the running quarterback. And I would say, if you're saying, what has Drake May done well this postseason? You would say he's run the ball extremely well. So that's one thing I think the Seahawks are going to have to watch for. So you got the Seahawks winning. Did you, and you may have said it and I kind of missed it, but since we have a lot of people watching that want to put some money down on this game, 4.5 is the line right now. Do you like the Seahawks to cover the 4.5?
23-17 has been my pick.
Okay.
That gets you there.
That does get you there. Okay. That's good. So it sounds like to me you're not ready to say though that Darnold is the lockdown, no doubt MVP of this game.
No, I think it'll be a defensive player.
Okay. And would it be Leonard, DeMarcus? Would it be Eamon Worry? I like that kid. Whoa.
Battling a bit of an injury, but
yeah.
Could be anybody out of the backfield, out of the secondary. I think Drake May has struggled with fumbles. I think somebody on that really talented Seahawks defensive front causes a fumble, maybe a scoop and score, maybe gets the MVP that way.
Okay.
That's kind of my that's what I'm looking at.
All right, buddy. Now what's after the Super Bowl? Will you take a little break? Will you take a little vacation, or are you just kind of are you going to go out to spring training? What's the situation there?
Super Bowl's on Sunday. I hit Pebble Beach on Tuesday. I'll be in Arizona by Saturday for spring training.
Man, what a life.
Nonstop, man. I love it.
What a life. And is that Vitello guy? Does he seem kind of fun and cool? You're always it's a fun manager until they start losing games. But what's that guy like?
I'll meet him on Saturday, or I should say Sunday, I guess. But he's supposedly, from what I understand, he's acclimated to San Francisco well. He's embraced the city, and that's all you can really ask for a coach that's gonna be the next manager of the San Francisco Giants. Just
when he's at that first big game, just say, is this a tougher environment? First, when they go on the road, and is this a tougher environment than going up against Mississippi State?
Yeah.
They're not allowed to have cowbells at these.
He's going to be a breeze for him. He's going to love that.
This is like an experiment, right? This is literally like, if this works, this will happen more and more. And unfortunately, I think the Arkansas coach, he's been around too long. I think he's missed his window. I took my cap off just so you could see, because I'm about to go back to the Lively / Mosley, the short hairstyle, but I wanted you to see what was happening.
I like the mane. You look good.
Time. I've just kind of let it roll, but it's time you're going to see our next meeting in person. You'll see a much thinner. I haven't decided if I'm going to get help. I mean, if I've waited, if somebody would bring me a batch of that stuff, like the Ozempic, and drop it off the house, I would totally use it. But I just haven't sought it out. I don't want to pay for it, but I'd love to. I do not. I mean, I really am envious of the people who have success, but I continue.
We're going to get you a gym. I'm just going to get you on a gym regimen, and that'll suffice.
Send me kind of something that just includes very limited upper body and just lots of tennis. Yeah, but send me some kind of workout. I'd appreciate it. Matt, thank you. Have a great rest of the week. Enjoy the game and enjoy Bad Bunny, man.
That's right.
Bad Bunny. He'll make everybody mad across the country. We're gonna have somebody from the US of A. But I'm Bad Bunny. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
It'll be good. All right. Thanks, man. Great to visit.
That'll be the first Bad Bunny I've heard, but I'm supportive. I'm supportive of his work. All right, there he goes. Matt Lively. Thank you, buddy. The CBS Bay Area Sports, good friend, and I've tried to mentor him over the years. Mainly, I put him on the Shacket and some other things. Z's got more. We got more college for you. We'll get you ready. Baylor plays at Iowa State. Women coming off a big win. And I like that other people are stepping up and scoring. Ben Geitenbeek had 19 the other night. So the Baylor women, the Baylor men have big games coming up, and then we'll start to get into our Super Bowl picks. That's all next.
When you strive for greatness, you have a target on your back. When it comes to finances, we're all targets for scammers. But with the right game plan, you can protect yourself. Don't get faked by fraud.
Here's a tip. If you receive a call from someone claiming to be from a company, don't give them your personal information, ever. Unless you know them personally, hang up and call the company back on a verified number.
This message is brought to you by Central National Bank.
At Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, we're proud to be your premier destination in Waco for exceptional automotive service. Whether you're searching for a new vehicle, a quality pre-owned car, or dependable service and parts, our team is here to take care of you every step of the way. Visit Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco, where great deals, friendly service, and your next ride are waiting. Come by, let's be friends.
Introducing Muck-Off's classic pink bike cleaner, powered by revolutionary nanotechnology that breaks down dirt and grime on a microscopic level while protecting your bike's delicate finish. us.muc-off.com.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels. Visit OpenGoAAALUSA.com and elevate your training today.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator.
Send money abroad in just a few steps with Remitly. Sign up with your email, enter an amount, choose how your loved ones receive the money, enter your recipient's information, select a payment method, hit send, and relax. Download the Remitly app today.
Hi, I'm Mitch, the co-founder of Cake, a sexual health and wellness company designed for today and designed for you. Yes, you. The entire product line can be found at hellocake.com, and it's also available in every Walmart near you.
Oh, it is the Mosley Show. I was just looking at something Dion said today, Z, and very, very interesting. I don't know if he'll hold to this, but wow. Dion from the Super Bowl in San Francisco with some interesting comments about his future and why he might not ever be interested in coaching in the NFL. Turns out he might have a bit of a grudge. So Z-Man, I just sent that to you. We might, if we get a chance, we might play that. But man, it's that was good to have Matt on, and he obviously thinks that Seattle is going to win this. It seems to be leaning toward it because of not just because of Sam Darnold, just everything around Sam Darnold. And my goodness, this has been quite a day as we get you ready and we look for all the different reasons why this thing could go either way. I'm leaning toward the Patriots covering. I mean, I look at some of the past and I look at these teams that have been favored by 4 or more in the Super Bowl. Like of the last 7 in that realm, none of them have covered when they're favored by 4 or more. So, and especially with teams that are this close, my gosh, I find this interesting. Got a few headlines that are coming out today. Fernando Mendoza telling folks, and Z, I'll give you a chance here in a second if you have anything left for Campus Confidential. Please feel free to share, and then you and I can give our Super Bowl picks. And it's interesting. The sports books out there are wanting a low-scoring Super Bowl. Yeah, it's interesting. I need to look at what the over/under is. I don't. After watching what the Rams did against Seattle, and I know this is a little different offense, and I know the way Drake May has played in this postseason, but I'm not ready to just say, well, Seattle's so great on defense that they're going to hold the Patriots to under 20 points.
45.5 right now is the spread.
45.5. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I would be they're begging you because of how good these teams have been on defense. They're begging you to take the under here. I would feel more comfortable taking the over, especially given the fact that we don't think elements are going to play a role. And I have a hard time thinking that this is going to be one of those. And of course, we'll look up and it'll be like scoreless at halftime, or there'll be a team up 3-0 or something, and I'll look crazy. But I kind of like the over if that over under is 4.5. Always like some of these prop bets as well. I did want to tell you on the college front, Z-Man, Fernando Mendoza has come out and said that throwing at the combine is, quote, not a priority. Not a priority for him. Not shocking. He could be the first overall pick. Some of those guys want to show up and pick and throw. He'll be there for all the interviews. He's unbelievable at the interviews. But right now he says that's not a priority. And then the news in the NFL today that Sonny Jurgensen, the Hall of Fame quarterback from the Eagles and Washington Commanders, formerly known as the Redskins. Man, he was a great personality. He was, when I was covering the Commanders a lot earlier this, starting really at about 2003, but in 2007, I was started being up there a lot. Still so beloved. Was still on the radio at that point. You could argue, and I know John Riggins would come to mind, and Theismann, and some of the all-time greats there, Art Monk and others, Charlie. But I kind of think that Jurgensen could be viewed as the most beloved Redskin of all time. And had a brief stay in hospice, and we lost him. Wow. I remember watching old footage, Z, of him throwing like 30 or 40-yard passes underhanded, where he just take it and go underhanded and just zip it. And so to me, he was kind of like a Mahomes type guy before Mahomes, guy that could throw it from any angle. And back then we weren't really valuing that kind of stuff and all, but he spent the majority of his 18-year career at Washington. And that was a surprising swap from that it came over from Philadelphia for Norm Snead, who in the long time ago was considered great quarterback and ends up in Philadelphia. He won 4 of his 5 Pro Bowls. He made 4 of his 5 Pro Bowls in Washington, leading the NFL in passing yards 3 times. And his 31 passing TDs in 1967 remain a single-season franchise record. Wow.
That's nice.
Imagine that in 1967 when running backs were still a massive thing, and running backs were the most important thing, and running the ball was the most important thing, and you throw for 31 touchdowns. That's crazy. I remember Romo having a great year for the Cowboys, and he threw for 26 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. But that was in the modern era when guys were throwing it like crazy and throwing all those touchdowns. And that really started with Coryell and Dan Fouts and a lot of that happening with the Chargers. My goodness. I had this thought about the Super Bowl, Z. I'll bounce this off of you. I was trying to think like what Darnold reminds me of. And the best I can come up with, and this guy ends up winning 2 Super Bowls, but it's kind of like Eli. It's kind of like not impressive, and then boom, breakout, have an unbelievable season. And he had a good one with Minnesota, but it didn't end well. And they were like, we got J.J. McCarthy. We're just going to move on. Like, I think if he wins this Super Bowl, that's a bit of a comp. They both were highly, highly rated guys coming out. Now, Eli struggled early, but not as much as Darnold, or Darnold needed he's on his 4th franchise now. But I just, there's something about, I would say Darnold honestly had a more NFL looking, I don't even know what I'd say, measurables, the way he kind of, in the early days, and I covered Eli in his early days, and Tiki Barber used to give him all kinds of grief. And Jerry Reese, the GM at the time, actually told me about this. They had to work with Eli on his body language because it was so bad they felt like it was impacting the rest of his teammates, defense included, because he had this hangdog expression, which, by the way, never always went away. But nobody cares about that when you're winning Super Bowls, right? He ends up being great. What was funny, that 2007 season, though, that year, the Cowboys had been so great. There was not a single Giants fan during that 2007 season that wouldn't have traded for Tony Romo. Romo was the up-and-coming, the hot new thing, the celebrity, all the things that were going on. He was dating the celebrities. Everything was great about Romo in 2007 until it wasn't. And they lost to Eli and the Giants in the divisional round, and a Giants team that year had gotten off to a rough start, was kind of left for dead, basically went about 10-6 that season in the regular season, and they got hot, and they went and won a Super Bowl. And then if they didn't do it again with Tom Coughlin, and of course they did it against, Eli had great success against the Patriots. That's what's so great, unbelievable at Patriots, is like we talk about this is their 7th time. This is their 7th time to have a chance to go win it. But this is their 11th time to go. It just seems unfair that their little time of being bad only lasted, 2 or 3 seasons, and then they get great again. So bad. They miss on a head coach after Belichick. They're ready for Belichick to leave. They get really bad. Belichick's gone. And they bring in they go with Mayo, and it just did not work.
No.
And then Vrabel's just sitting out there. Another Patriot who had a nice run with the Titans. Not a great run, but a nice run.
Well, he took him to an AFC title game, didn't he? In Tennessee?
Did the Tennessee Titan look that one up, please?
I am.
Because I thought the farthest they got was a divisional game. It would surprise me a little bit if the Titans.
2019, in his 2nd season, the AFC title game where they lost to the Chiefs 35-24.
Wow. That's the AFC title game?
Mm-hmm. That, with Mariota as his quarterback, I'm pretty sure.
Wait, make sure that was Vrabel. Because they had a coach in front of him. Was that Tannehill as quarterback?
Oh, yeah. No, it would have been, yes. It would have been Tannehill there. No, he's the coach there at that time.
Okay. Wow. Imagine having that experience as a Titans owner and fan and deciding, you know what? We can do better than Vrabel. and they go and hire just somebody ridiculous. Now, I can't even remember the guy's name. He was there for like a year and a half, maybe. The Titans coach. And then now, is that where Saleh went? I think Saleh is the coach
that's where
there
Saleh's
now.
at now.
I find this very interesting because most teams want the McVay offensive experience, but now this is a copycat league. Seattle went and got an up-and-coming, really interesting young defensive coordinator. That's what the Cowboys just tried to hire for their defensive coordinator. But McDonald, when they hired him, was only like 36 years old. And honestly, it was an interesting hire, but I can't say that when they made that hire, Zach, that I was like, oh, yeah, this guy will do it. This guy will get it going. But dang it, if they didn't just go build a monster. And again, it took a lot of things to hit. They got the right quarterback. And Jigba has emerged as like a top 3 receiver in the NFL. And but it's really about this guy's defensive mind and what he's done on defense. And they've done it 2 different ways a little bit. Both of them did well in free agency. Really, really well. But New England did something that most teams in the past we've kind of made fun of the teams like the Eagles who tried to put the dream team together and spent huge that one year in free agency, circa 2011 or something like that.
Yeah,
and
I remember that year.
New England kind of went and did the same thing. You kind of think of New England, it's hard to get Belichick out of your mind, and kind of like they didn't spend enormously in free agency, and they let other people spend huge money on people they allowed to walk. Like eventually maybe like a Willie McGinnis or a Will Fork or some of those greats that they had that in the end of their careers ended up getting some big money other places. Most times people New England let walk. It was extremely rare that anybody they let walk became great somewhere else. It just didn't happen. This past offseason, they went crazy in free agency. And they got Milton Williams, and they spent huge money on him, and he has been great. The amazing thing about that deal was that he wasn't even – he was good for the Eagles, but he was like in the rotation. I don't even think we would say Milton Williams was a lockdown starter. He was part of their rotation. He ends up being great, and he did get hurt. But then it was like all those guys I was kind of bringing up earlier, Chason, Harold Landry III. It's just like they just kept Spillane. Those were all free agent guys, and they kind of put that thing together. Now I got to try to think how they got there. Christian Gonzalez was a draft pick of theirs, who's I guess now in his second year, and he's become the best player in their secondary. What I'm trying to think of is how they filled out the rest of their secondary, because they got a really good. The kid I'm thinking of, is their slot corner is really good, and I'm just not thinking of his name all of a sudden. Is it Moore? Is his last name Moore? Or is it anyway? Really, really good.
Marcus Jones?
Marcus Jones. Sorry. Marcus Jones plays slot for them. And man, he's good. Now, the problem, of course, is going to be in Jigba. They're going to put him in motion. They're going to put him in the slot. They're going to run him out of the backfield. They're going to do everything in the world to make that a tough matchup. Now, the number 2 cornerback for the Patriots is not bad. It's not bad. So I think what they'll do with Christian Gonzalez is do what they've done for much of the year and leave him over on the right side. It doesn't mean sometimes they won't move him, but they've got a good slot man in their nickel, and they stay in their nickel literally like 70, 80% of the time. All right. When you got that great of a nickel, again, I say he's great. He's good. he's not good enough. He's still probably more than not going to lose a one-on-one matchup with Njigba. So what's going to have to happen is they're probably going to double him and try to take Njigba out of the game. What was interesting in that last game against the Rams is while Njigba got his and put up great numbers and all that, they actually were good against him on third down. They locked him up in double coverage on third down, and I think he only had one catch on third down. But, of course, he did tremendous damage on first and second down. All right, the Z-Man. I mean, we've given people all we can, getting them ready for the Super Bowl. Give us your pick against the line. Seahawks are favored by 4.5. What's your pick against the line? And then kind of break this one down for me.
Gotcha. I think that the Patriots will cover, and I am taking the under. I think that while at least watching that Rams game, and you could see how explosive this Seahawks offense can be, I have enjoyed watching this Patriots defense. You brought up a great point earlier of Drake May having problems, hanging on to the ball and securing that. But I think the biggest thing for me in this whole game is how well this Patriots defense plays. I thought that the one that I watched a lot of, obviously you take weather out of that Denver game because I think it made it a crapshoot for everybody. But that Houston game that I got to watch a lot of, the reason they won obviously was the turnovers that they were able to create. That defense, not to say that, CJ Stroud is, obviously getting MVP votes, but the defense made it a problem. It made it hard for Houston to do anything on offense. I'm very intrigued to see how they're able to deal with such a wild card like Jackson Smith-Njigba, and what he provides there for the Seahawks offense. But I just think, I don't know. I put more into the Patriots defense being able to carry them there. And I think that they'll come out with like a 24-20, 24-17 win.
Patriots win. Patriots cover.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. As we get closer to game time, here's my pick. I like all your reasoning there. We've covered a lot of this. I'm gonna also agree that the Patriots cover, but I got Seattle winning this game. All right. And there may have been another broadcast I was on this morning where I picked it the other way. I don't know. I don't know how consistent I've been on this. As I was saying that, I'm like, what did I say earlier today? That can be that this way I can be right. It's something, right? Yeah. But yeah, I think the only different thing I did, I think I kind of went like you, but I the more I think about this, I think Seattle, I do think they find a way, and I think that defense is unbelievably tough. And I think this guy kind of came out of nowhere for me. Because in my mind, I'm like, I watch all these games. I mean, I read everything. Why do I not know more about this Rashid Shaheed? And the truth is, it's because they picked him up at midseason. He was not on the team throughout the year. I think he was in New Orleans or somewhere.
Yeah, he was in New Orleans.
He's not only a great return man, but he's a game breaker at receiver. And I do think Seattle has more at receiver than the Patriots have.
I'll agree with that.
What do they have at tight end? I'm just trying to think, because there's some of these teams we know the tight ends so well, and we think about the tight ends, and I'm having trouble even thinking now.
AJ Barner is the Seahawks' main one.
Okay.
For the Patriots, it's Hunter Henry for the Patriots.
Yeah. Good player. Hunter is like always the man of the year candidate. He's the guy. Good character, man. But, the Patriots occasionally need to have at least one player with good character.
They're not necessarily getting it from the wide receiving core sometimes. So,
all right. Hey, we got to say goodbye, but Z, do you have any feeling like, could you see the Bears going to Hilton Coliseum? They're playing a little bit better. They've got the record to 3-7. They've won 2 straight. I'm not gonna. I don't think you. I think if you picked Baylor to win, unfortunately, given what's happened this season in conference, it would hurt your credibility. So I'm not gonna encourage you to do that. But do you think the Bears could keep this thing close?
I think they could, given the 2 in a row, and also one of those being a road win in West Virginia. That gives me a little more hope. So yeah, I think they can keep it close.
Okay, good. That makes me feel better about watching that game. I'm not going to say it again because I've tried to strike this from it ever being mentioned on air again, even though I think he's kind of proud of his take. Did I tell you the other day Kevin's take on Cooper Flag?
Yeah.
Let's not say it. I just don't think we should take that out in public. But as he said it, I just sat there and I'm like, I don't know if I can let him back on. I don't know. I just don't know. Because part of you, when we do what we do, you like different weird things to happen. You like people to have different opinions than you.
I thought it was going to be Detlef Shrimp. So, I mean, yeah, I'm in the wrong there. I thought he was going to play more like Detlef Shrimp and not be able to put up as many points as he has. So I've been wrong there, and I'll admit it. But I don't think him. Well, we weren't going to say it. I just don't know if that happening would have helped him out anymore.
I think we're trying to save Kevin's career after that. after that take. We hope the Baylor women are doing great over in tennis as he's over there. How do you do PA in tennis? Can you imagine? Like, do you love 15 love?
I think
30 love. No, I think you probably kind of get them fired up and get the fans going. Like I think college tennis has a little bit more of a rock. It's a different type of environment. Yeah. I think he actually kind of gets on there and gets excited and stuff. Okay. I think he's a hype man. I think he almost got the Baylor PA basketball job. The Rogue is full of almost famous. All right, Z-Man. Appreciate all your great work today. Always love working with you. And let's have a tremendous Super Bowl weekend. And I hope one of my picks works out. And Z, are you having people over? Are you going over to somebody's house?
No,
what's your plan on that front?
I'm just gonna hang out at home with the little one. Probably find some wings or some typical Super Bowl snacks and just enjoy it by myself.
How is the little one doing?
Good. We had a 15-month doctor's appointment this morning, and he is walking already and getting into everything. So he is. Yep.
I was 15 months old when I got my first pair of glasses. I started wearing shades indoors at 15 months. No, but I did get my first pair of glasses, and they could tell I couldn't see anything because my eye was doing something weird, and had to do the patch, and got glasses, and my world changed, and I went from a very, I believe, fussy, tough child to a child that read, grew up looking at books and became a child that behaved well until I got
to see the world. Yeah.
Until I got to high school.
Well, that happens for all of us.
I wasn't that bad, but Dad did have to come get me a couple times when I stayed over at somebody's house a little late or something. That's not what you want to see, by the way. You're wrapping up a date and you're wrapping it up a little too late. Your father walking down the driveway. That is not. That's about the scariest sight you could see is you're in a driveway and you look in the rearview mirror and there comes Dad.
Yeah.
Whoa. I remember I've never gotten out of a driveway so fast in my life. Probably was in the old, I don't know if it was in the S10 Blazer or the Buick Century. Probably the S10 Blazer. Okay, that was a good high school car. Yeah, good little dude until I fell asleep driving one time and I ran into the "Welcome to the Home of Bill Clinton" sign in Hope, Arkansas.
The car okay? You didn't knock the sign down. I'm assuming the sign's still there.
I did some damage to the sign. Oh. And the car was still running. And it looked like the Flintstone car. I had all the windows out and everything was shattered, but I was still able to drive home. had bugs hit me in the eye and stuff. And I went to the local DPS office and reported on myself.
Oh, that's...
He just said, because I was able to drive the car and no police came to the deal. I'm like, well, okay, I'll just move on down the road. And I drove it to the DPS office and I said, hey, I just hit your sign down the road. And they were like, well, we'll send you a bill if we need to or whatever. Never heard from them. I tried to report myself one time. I accidentally went through the toll booth at the airport, and the thing, fortunately it was not one of those that you break it. It was like it had some give to it, and I went right through it and I felt bad. And there was a cop over on the side of the road, over on the shoulder, and I pulled up behind the cop. It was like me pulling off over a policeman. Mm-hmm. And I got their attention and I go, listen, I'm really sorry. I don't really know how to handle this. I went through the toll booth and I wasn't trying to run the toll booth, but I accidentally did. And I just wanted to let you know what had happened. And can you tell me what I need to do so I don't get in trouble?
Yeah.
And they said, okay. They took my license. And I had just purchased this car from somebody.
Down at your phone for some reason. The camera didn't follow you.
I had just.
There we go.
I had just. Oh, this may be a sign that we need to wrap it up. Oh my gosh. I can't believe this. What's the deal? Why is it doing this? Anyway, okay, I'll just hold it.
All right.
So they had I had just bought this old beat up BMW, and it some reason the title hadn't come over. I just bought the guy thing, I'd written him a check. He had it in front of his house. And the cops started saying something, acting like I had like a stolen vehicle or something. And I said, guys, if I had a stolen vehicle, do you think I would have like pulled y'all over? Like, would that be the best behavior for somebody with a stolen vehicle? Anyway, all right, well, let's call this like bonus cover. Like we should have like how Patreon and some of these things do?
Yeah.
We should have people, they pay for a higher level and they get like 10 extra minutes, because we usually end at 55.
Yeah.
I bet Z's like, God, when will this ever end? All right, buddy.
Enjoying these stories. All right.
I appreciate it. But story time with Mosley. All right.
I like that.
And good job, Z. I'll holler at you later, okay?
Yes, sir.
I got to go play tennis.
All right. I guess that ends the show then.
That is the Mosley Show. We'll see you Monday to react to the Super Bowl at 1:00 straight up. Good night, everybody.